Okay. You know the sequence?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't want to rush you or make you feel uncomfortable, so don't feel uncomfortable.
No,
Just that I must go at 11:30.
I understand.
Okay, it's 25 minutes more.
Okay. In 25 minutes, we'll have time to go through it.
All right.
To go through it
I
all.
don't think so because I have long answers, but
We'll try to make it
I
shorter.
advise you
Okay.
to try and make the questions.
Okay, altogether I've got like 14.
That's too much. You won't be able to do. Believe me, I've done a lot of interviews in my life. You won't be able to do more than
Okay. Are we ready? So, by securing conditions in special courts, the government has tried to frighten your supporters through the campaign and press them not to be candidates. At the same time, the accountability process only covers the time when you were in power, ignoring the misdeeds of previous governments. So my question is, what do you think of this harassment against you? Does it take place in the normal traditional rules within the political game, or beyond that, is it something more vicious, more heavily?
The Pakistan People's Party, you must know a little about its history. It fought every single dictator for the last 20 years. And when I won the election, the establishment made every effort that I should not be able to succeed. But despite the obstacles they put in my path, I was able to strengthen the country politically, economically, and socially. That is why the president dismissed my government. He felt that if he gets a little bit more time, then the government is going to be too strong to dislodge. And they made a plan to try and destroy the Pakistan People's Party forever, so that it would never be able to resist tyranny again. As part of this program, they have launched, but you're disturbing me. You keep coming like this. How can I talk with a man going like this over my head? What the hell do you think you're doing? When you're ready, then you call me. The part of this objective, they have tried to destroy the Pakistan People's Party. They have done this by, number one, slander. We ran a clean and efficient government, but they tried to slander us through the court. They have not been able to find one charge of corruption, but they have charged us with misconduct. And misconduct is subjective. What may be good conduct by one person is misconduct by another. Number two, they haven't brought us before ordinary courts. Like Inquisition, they have set up special courts with special rules, and the president has handpicked the judges. Now, we are either being tried by special court judges, or we are being tried by retired judges who have been brought back into service just to try our own case. So where do you go to for justice? Now, Ziaul has dismissed his assembly because he said that the people in the IGI were corrupt. Yet not one of them is being brought before the court. I'll give you an example. My husband is a business, but while I was in government, he didn't take a single loan. Yet, he's got 5 bank charges against him. And the only witness is the court. On the other hand, the present Prime Minister and members of his cabinet took loans during the period of dictatorship, had them declared as bad loans, and then had them written off, causing a loss of billions to the national exchequer. So I say that if you're interested in accountability, it should be even-handed and fair. Those who took loans and did not repay them should be punished. And those who did not take loans should not be punished. But here, values are inverted.
What do you think of this moral?
Let me just continue. So this slander campaign to discredit our reputation is one aspect of their campaign. The special court and retired judges to knock us out of the political field is a second. But a third, far more powerful weapon that they're using is going to the grassroots and involving poor people, poor activists in charges of a criminal nature, charges like murder, charges like kidnapping. And They just don't know, and we don't know how to counter this onslaught against us by using the judicial or abusing the judicial process to eliminate political opposition in this country. We have tried to fight it politically. They're trying to force us to the streets, but we're trying to go to the parliament and put up a political battle. But for us, it's like going back to the days of dictatorship and having a constitutional dictatorship. All of General Zia's men are banned. All the people who plundered this country are banned. The people who supported tyranny and stood by while innocent people were lost are banned. But we feel that the fight for freedom is an ongoing process. There are many difficulties in its path. Look at Mandela. He was in prison for 27 years. So we've got to see the fight for freedom as being part of a larger context. And instead of being demoralized, we have to continue on this path in which we believe.
Yes, a very active effect. I mean, the whole thing, the whole story of yours is something incredible. Your father and your brother dedicated in rather suspicious conditions, yourself being in jail, your mother being in jail, now your husband being in jail. What's going to be next? How do you feel like this? I mean, how do you understand this state of yours? I mean, it
sometimes seems so unreal. And then you wonder also how many trials and tribulations you have to go through. But then again, I think that if I didn't symbolize freedom in this country, if I wasn't the leader of the largest national party, this wouldn't happen. So there is a price one has to pay for believing in ideals. And I think that no matter what the difficulties, it's a price worth paying. My husband and I were both asked that we could leave the country and we would face no problems. But we made a conscious decision. Even my husband, he's only being shy because he's my husband, but he too made a conscious decision to stay back because we feel we owe it to all the millions of people in Pakistan who have hope in the Pakistan People's Party and in me, symbolizing not only freedom but a liberal, modern Pakistan. The type of Pakistan which the founders wanted, but the type of Pakistan which the fanatics have not yet permitted to emerge.
Did you find it difficult from the time you were opponent or dissident, let's say you were dissident and an opponent, before you became into power, did you find it difficult to stay as pure? I mean, my question is, can we stay pure when you get in charge of the power?
I hope so, and I think so. I believe that in the 20 months, we ran a clean and efficient government, and the proof of our running a clean and efficient government was in the statistics of the country. For instance, banking profits increased by 70%, tax collections increased by 20%, inflation rate was high, the budget deficit came down, and these things can only happen when there is an efficient government and when there is a clean government. Many times offers were made to me to buy over parliamentarians, and I said no. My strength in the parliament went down from 151 to 142, but at no stage did we succumb to temptation, because we just believe in certain values, and we think life is about certain values. And if one doesn't have values, then one doesn't have any structure, any moral structure within which to function. And life without a moral structure, in my view, is meaningless.
You've been a certain time in power, but you've been more time in the opposition. Now you're back in the opposition again. Sometimes journalists say that you fit with the role of a martyr, martyr. How do you react?
I wouldn't like to be a martyr. Nobody would like to be a martyr. Life is too precious a gift for people to go and just as martyrs. But if persecution is the price one has to pay for upholding certain values, then certainly it's a price that I'm willing to pay. And it's not just me as a person, but I think of all the people who made sacrifices, lost their job, went into exile, went into prison, and it was because we believed in a Pakistan where there was the rule of law, where there was freedom. And I'm proud that in 20 months we showed that it could happen. There was no ban on student unions, no ban on labor unions. We had no exit control list to stop people from leaving the country. There was full freedom of the press, and the people stood by us. There were no riots. Nobody came out on the street. There were no strikes because there was a representative government. And it was a time when we made advances not only in the economic field, but in the social field. For instance, we set up a women's bank to give working women credit facilities, and we enhanced expenditure in education by 70% because we believe these are the important things to protect the weak and to lay the basis for progress through education.
You just mentioned the women in Pakistan, and this is a question I wanted to ask you first. Lately, there's somebody, Secretary General J.U.R., has demanded the government to make necessary amendments in the Constitution as to block the way of a woman to rule the country. Actually, don't you think it was like an extraordinary paradox for you to be in a third world Muslim country, the leader of this country? I mean, there's other examples which happen to be very rare in the West. Mary Robinson now in Ireland, or Margaret Thatcher in England. When it happened, didn't you think that kind of a fairy tale or something?
I didn't think it was a fairy tale because it was the love and the affection of the people of Pakistan which made me Prime Minister of Pakistan, and I still have that love and affection. I'm the second Pakistani woman to be seated at an electoral seat. The first Pakistani woman was a lady called Fatma Jinnah. She won the presidential election, but they were raped, and she was denied fruit of her victory. So in Pakistan, elections have been rigged in the past, and women have been seated in the past, but that has not deterred either Pakistani women or even Pakistani men from pursuing common goals. I believe the fundamentalists want to make it impossible for a woman to become Prime Minister because they can't defeat me politically. I believe they want to disqualify my colleagues and myself because they can't defeat us politically. And we have no state apparatus with us, but they're scared of our words. Because we say freedom must be given to people, there must be the rule of law, the poor and the distressed must be protected. They fear us, and in a way that gives us confidence. But if we were not a political threat, they would not be taking these extraordinary measures to try and knock us out of political field. I'll give you an example. We went through this in the 50s when the popular leadership of the country was disqualified. And they faced special courts and special trials. They were disqualified. And Mr. Sovardi, who was a popular leader of the people at the time, he was disqualified. And he went on to become Prime Minister of Pakistan. So in the context of Pakistani politics, disqualification is a certificate. It's a testimony to the fact that if you have roots amongst the people, then the powers of tyranny must take you on.
You talked about the fundamentalists and the extremists, or whatever religious extremists there are. What do you think of this idea that formerly in the West, the big threat was communism? Now there's no more communism in the East. So there's a new threat there, which is more or like aims for something like religious intolerance. I'm also referring to the term which has been found in London, called international guerrilla activity. What do you think of this old concept? Manichaean ideas, the West being the good, the Islam being the bad, and if you take the reverse, in Islam the West is the bad. What do you think of this context in the world, international moral attitude?
I have never believed that a person is good or bad by virtue of their race, or by virtue of their belief, or by virtue of their lifestyle. I believe that all mankind is the creation of God, and there are good and bad everything. They have to take each individual or each government on its own merit or its own demerit. And indeed, the rise of racism is one. One sees it even in France, and one sees it in Pakistan. There's a lot of racial discrimination going on here. This is the biggest threat to the firstly racism, and number two, how to have a press that is more responsible. I have great respect for the press, but I feel that people are looking for instant stories and sometimes don't go into a deeper analysis and therefore are not always accurate. I speak, of course, from my own third world perspective, where we gave full freedom to the press, but all sorts of lies were printed. Now, I know in the West the press has had freedom for a longer time, so it's more responsible. But people can become victims of a press campaign. For instance, a press campaign was launched against my government, that we were pro-American, that we were pro-Indian, then we were just pro-Pakistan. We believe that the United States has been a key partner and has sustained us until today, gives us $500 million of aid, and we believed in improving relations with the United States. With India, we sought to improve our relations, but not at the cost of outstanding disputes such as Kashmir. So that's why I feel that there's got to be a better balance track, and it shouldn't just be instant stories, but more well-researched stories. And yet at the same time, we enjoy instant stories. For instance, on CNN, when the invasion of Kuwait was taking place, the PDP government had introduced CNN to Pakistan to give information to people. And we saw everything as it occurred, even faster than the foreign mission could send their report back. So in a way, you need the instant news. And at the same time, for analysis, you need a bit of time for reflection, substantive thinking.
This is maybe before the end question. I've got two more. This is talking about the media. I see the media, international press, somehow supported a lot of your action, whether in England, France, or elsewhere. Now, the gas crisis you're talking about, first and the topics was only this one. At the same time, you have the election there. So you have this support from the international press, which is always helpful. How do you appreciate the fact that you rushes to one place at one time and then nobody talks about Pakistan anymore when you were the big lines and the big hits like a year or two ago?
Actually, the international press is also very important for keeping the focus. But then one has to compete for news. And in this time, if we had had elections in Pakistan and we hadn't won, we would have accepted it, because democracy means that you win some and you lose some. But because the elections were rigged, we feel it's important for us to stress that point to get electoral reform. Because without electoral reform, they'll go on rigging elections. They'll go on rigging state government. So we want two things. One is electoral reform, and two, we want protection of human rights against the abuse of law. And hundreds of people have been involved in false criminal charges. They're facing murder charges. They're facing kidnapping charges, bizarre charges. And these are respectable people who, whether they're poor, perhaps. Some of them are not educated, perhaps. But their integrity and their honesty and their commitment to values gives them a status in their own little lane where they live. So, in a funny way, we have a facade of democracy. But under that facade, we have very much the measures that were resorted to by journalism, political victimization, and economic victimization. And I believe the new regime is trying to divert the attention of the people of Pakistan by trying to go on a campaign of victimization.
Are you ready? Okay, so that's really the media is the making or unmaking of a leader. What do you think about?
Well, in the making or unmaking of a leader, there are objective circumstances and there are subjective. The media is objective, and the media will always go to where the latest headline is. And sometimes the media is in a hurry and can mar the reputation of a person just because it's with us. But the subjective factor is that if one has grassroots support, if one has a message, ideas, then on the strength of one's own grassroots support or message, one compels the media to take note and to run. I believe the media has written about me on one level because I'm a woman in a Muslim country who became Prime Minister. But on the other level, it's also written about Pakistan and myself because I had the support. And that's why it is intriguing story success.
I'd like to ask you, who are your heroes?
I have many heroes, and if I have to point out to you one of the people I was inspired by was Robert Kennedy. He was an idealist, and he talked about the slums, the poor, the rights of the black. But I have many other heroes here, such as Atatürk of Turkey, because he pushed Turkey into the modern era. And I so much want to see Pakistan enter the modern era. Or even Napoleon, who gave the Napoleonic Code and therefore laid the basis of a civilized society. A law is the most important aspect of the progress of mankind. But one of my heroines, you asked me about heroes, but my heroine is Bibi Fatima, the daughter of the Prophet. Because she was the daughter of the Prophet, and she is the wife of a Khalif. And she's also the daughter of the first convert to Islam. But yet, she was a person in her own right, and recognized in her own right that she did not let powerful personalities overshadow her own character. And that's why I've always loved her. She was a simple person. She was a person who faced many trials after the death of her father. As a need, I believe, I too faced. But she was a firm believer in God. And I respect the fact that she was known for herself rather than for her father, her mother, or her husband. And I think that's what all women should strive for, to be recognized in their own right. Even to be recognized in their own right as a good housewife. That's what they are.
If you have one wish to make for the new year.
Oh, well, I don't have one wish. I have so many wishes. But if I had one wish to make, I would wish that there could be a truly democratic Pakistan, where the people of this country could determine their own future. I believe progress can only come when the poor and the rich of Pakistan will make an honor. Okay?
Thank you very much. If you could pick up...
I'm sorry I did.
Thank you.